is extremely well known for. He was playing mid-range Hunter before players like Life Coach and Kalento were the ones who popularized and ultimately terrorized ladder with it. However, we do also have to mention there is another really popular class nowadays, but maybe not for the reasons you've come to expect. Trump is bringing Paladin. However, it's not the Secrets Paladin that's been very popular also on ladder. It seems to be more of a mid-range or at least a slower variant of it.
Yeah, seems like it. Seeing that Harrison Jones and equality is something that we don't see in Secrets Paladins usually. Very rare. I've sometimes seen one here and there, but it's very rare.
Yeah, it's definitely a card that's there to help with the Patron matchup that otherwise be pretty difficult for the Paladin deck. They get their Grim Patrons out, you play Equality, and then you're fine. But this is a matchup that's actually very polarizing. Depending on whether you ask the Hunter or the Paladin player, everybody thinks they're favored. So
is that so?
It feels like specifically Paladin specialists don't want to feel like Paladin's bad against classes. So Paladin players usually say like, no, it's actually pretty good.
What do you guys think?
Well, I think Paladin is definitely the reactive deck in the matchup. It can draw the right answers in the right order. As long as you have your Eldor Peacekeeper for their high main, you have the right early game board control, you can win. And I really think it's going to depend a lot on how these early turns play out.
Absolutely, and something like Master for Battle is very important for Trump to pick up. I tend to favor the Hunter in this matchup, and looking at Jab's hand, he's curving out perfectly. He has everything he needs for now.
And that's the key to this Hunter deck in the first place. A lot of people look at Hunter nowadays and feel like, you know, it's a lot of damage onto your opponent. You can rush. However, the most important thing for Hunter is not necessarily just the damage they get, but also what they play from turns 1 to 4, if they're playing something that impacts the board. And Jab is so board-oriented that he decided to quick shot instead of develop the Mad Scientist.
Yeah, you see the Quartermaster in Trump's hand. This is a card that you only see in the slower, more mid-rangey versions of
that
Paladin.
confirms it for sure.
Combos well with Master for Battle, and there we see it. Summon 3/1/1 Silverhand Recruit, equipped with 1/4 weapon. That is the card that Trump would love to have right now. In case that Jab will be unable to clear those 1/1s, in combination with the Quartermaster, that can be a winning play.
Ooh. Alright, that Eldor Peacekeeper is going to help a lot. Trump did not have a good answer for this Misha.
Yeah. With a follow-up juggle on the juggler itself.
Oh, wow, and he hits it.
That's a pretty big board play, because now if his opponent had Houndmaster or some opportunity to really benefit off that Misha, it's gotten a lot weaker.
Oh wow, there's a Ram Wrangler in Jab's hand right now. That is something we don't see often. I don't know if I've ever seen that in competitive Hearthstone.
Ram Wrangler is one of my favorite cards in the Grand Tournament because, yes, there are some King Crushes with Captain's Parrot combinations, but at the same time, it's something that you never know what to expect, and that's kind of the nature of Hearthstone sometimes. It can either shock you or disappoint you, unfortunately. Just kind of what Ram Wrangler does.
Trump has no idea how badly he needs to clear the board right now.
Right.
Just looking at from his point of view, it seems like Murloc Knight is fairly obvious after taking out the Cobra.
Right.
But if he saw the cards, he would probably go with the Consecration, but how can you make that call? He's definitely not expecting to see a Ram Wrangler on turn 5 from Jab.
Well, it goes both ways, too. I mean, now Trump, if he decides to develop the Murloc Knight, his opponent can't exactly deal with it easily either. Instead, Trump chose to go for the Shield Mini-Bot and tries to go for, a more board-centric play as well.
Yep, it wants to hero power on the same turn as he plays the Murloc Knight. That's quite often the play. And another thing to consider from Trump's point of view is that for turn 5 he has the Quartermaster, and so he wants to get the 1/1 on board right now.
True.
I'm having some scary flashbacks right now, Dan.
Some PTSD withdrawals. Well, we'll see. I mean, the Ram Wrangler can summon anything from Young Dragonhawk to a King Crush.
Okay, that's fair.
That's pretty solid.
I think that's like average.
Yeah, that's pretty much average.
Yeah. Yeah, the fact that Ram Wrangler can summon stats equivalent to itself, 4/2 is kind of like a 3/3 in distribution.
I believe the math behind it is something like 3 power and 4 toughness on average, but that is a 4/2. It has a stealth. It's right middle of the road.
So Trump didn't actually have a strong turn 5 play because he is aiming to play that Murloc Knight turn 6, but because Jungle Panther is the minion that came out of Ram Wrangler, Trump now has a pretty clean Consecration. He's going to be really happy about that.
Absolutely. Consecration is not going to be mana efficient, and he picks up the Equality, so that might be a little bit tempting to hold on to the Consecration potentially. But it is really clean, so I think he might go for it. But there's a lot of options. You
could just slam the Quartermaster. I mean, this is a matchup that is really... You're probably not going to have the time to set up that Muster for Battle combo that we talked about earlier. You might as well get your 2/5 on the board now, trade into the 3/3. I can definitely see him making that play, especially because of that Equality draw.
Yeah, with that combination is so powerful for Trump. He knows that even later on it's going to be great. And for now, that Quartermaster at 2/5 if that Panther was to come out of stealth, the Quartermaster would just perfectly match up against it.
Well, the Golden Savannah Highmane drops onto the board, and this is a card that Hunter wants to hit on turn 6, but the board state usually looks more favorable for the Hunter leading up to this point. And Jab chooses to reveal the Jungle Panther, opening it up to an attack because he feels like the Highmane is the bigger threat, so I can try to get this attack in maybe once, maybe even twice with this Jungle Panther.
That is such a great call from Jab. I would have been tempted to give it in a stealth, but it would have just died the Consecration for sure.
Yeah, Trump has so many tough decisions this turn. Well, really two. He can make the Murloc Knight play, or he can equality, run his Divine Shield minion into the Highmane, and then play Consecration. Both plays are really strong. He's already seen Ram Wrangler. He might suspect a second one in Jab's deck. There's a lot of value in just clearing these minions off the board.
It looks like he's going for the Murloc Knight instead.
Board control. All right, well, this Murloc Knight summons a random Murloc, and there's a lot of choices. Some of them impact the board. Some of them are just 2/1s that don't really do much. But, point notwithstanding, it's still a minion that is hard to deal with for the Hunter, unless he has to use his Unleash the Hounds right here to clear it.
There we go, no hesitation. Goes for the Unleash. He just got another one from the top, so that also makes it more easy to make that play. He wants to use the second one in combination with the Starving Buzzard for sure. For the first one, no need to hold on to that one. Goes for the easy clear here. Well, it's not a full clear, but it's close.
One thing that's also interesting to note too is that Jab has the very old school Hunter combination of the Buzzard with the Unleash combination. The Buzzard draws a card whenever you summon a beast, whether you play a minion or you summon minions through Unleash the Hounds.
Double equality. Trump definitely expecting to see a lot of control Warlocks in this tournament. But no need for equality right now. He can just straight in that and go for the Consecration. Zombie Chow hero power afterwards. Fairly solid.
Yeah, Trump actually had the option there, though, to Consecration first, and then, you know, run the 2/5 into the Hyena. You'd be left with a 2/3 and have your opponent have a 2/2. But
oh yeah, that's true.
I mean, he's seen that Ram Wrangler. He really doesn't want to leave Jab with any beasts on the table. It makes a lot of sense.
Oh,
yeah.
a second Savannah
And Houndmaster is also possible, so that's probably another thing to consider.
Yikes. That's not very good. Considering that second Savannah Highmane is hard to deal with. The second Quartermaster is also a little awkward because the mana right now is only 8. And you can put 2 3/3s, but it still doesn't control the state of the board that well. And there is a trap that you have to account for.
Yep, most likely a freezing trap. Trump is going to test for it first. He doesn't want to trigger snakes, just in case it would be that.
Yep, it is freezing. Now he has to decide, do I just slam his Tyrion on curve? I like it.
Absolutely. Nothing else seems to come even close to the power level of the Fortune here. It can be sometimes tricky to play that minion because it does cost that 8 mana. Has an opportunity here, just goes for it.
Wow, if you're having flashbacks from
this
some
is
of the
incredible.
other things, but the Buzzard Unleashed drawing 2 cards and being able to pop the Divine Shield very cheap.
And he's going to draw 2 additional cards from the Hyenas.
Oh, you're right! That is so big. Refilling almost the entire hand here from Jab. Picking up some really crucial cards and clearing the state of the board.
That was a huge swing in Jab's favor right now, and it's going to be tough to lose with your Jab right now.
Luckily, we have some Blizzard employees in the building. Maybe Starving Buzzard's a little too strong.
That's right. Yeah, knock it down to 9 mana, make it a 1/1.
Right.
You know, the Buzzard just won't always fully go away. Sometimes it just makes an appearance.
Yep. Still very powerful there.
The Antique Heal bot here is a pretty important draw for Trump if he wants to stabilize you know, the health. He doesn't want to be in a position where Hunter can continue to just ignore the minions on board and go for the win.
Oh yeah, and with that second trap up, it's most likely going to be another freezing trap.
Yeah.
The Antique Heal bot is just a perfect card to try to attack with into the trap.
Hunter is just such a dangerous deck when you get that many cards and this much mana late in the game. It's so easy to just make Haymaker after Haymaker plays that just will overwhelm almost any deck. If Trump had his second Consecration here, yes, he could deal with the board, but Jab could just refill all over again.
Quite often in those kind of spots, on turn 8, on turn 9, the Hunter would be out of cards, but with that Buzzard Unleash, he got those 4 extra cards from the Highmane and the Unleash. Just like the game completely turned around.
This is an argument against running 2 equalities in the Paladin deck because sometimes you do draw both of them and they're slightly redundant. So yes, equality is an incredibly powerful card, but Trump's haven't even found application for 1 of them, let alone using 2. So this is also an awkward hand for Trump. Meanwhile, Hunter is a deck that recently struggles with card draw. Usually you just kind of play threat for threat, and sometimes you're left just playing off the top of your deck. But not in Jab's case. He's got so much power, so much mana, and I believe that's just enough right here.
Yeah, that's going to
end the game.
Wow.
That'll do it. Jab takes off to a 2-0 lead against Trump. Starting off really strong in his first series.
2-0 lead. Not the end of the world.